Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Afternoon Sports Beat on this beautiful Psycho Tuesday. I'm here today at the Zoo Sports Grill up here in Edmond, our Edmond studio. Beautiful place, downtown, great food, drinks, unbelievable television. I'll be telling you all about it. But right now, we have a special guest. He is, of course, the coach, and I mean longtime coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. Bob Stoops is with us from down in Big 12 Media Days. Coach, how are you, my man?
I'm doing great, Jim. I've been here almost as long as you've been there on the radio.
No, I know it, man. Was it 19 years now? How many years is it?
I'm going on 18. And I was just teasing
18.
you. I was teasing you that I'm 15 minutes too late. I would have got on with Dusty and Mark and had some easy softballs to hit instead of you roughing me up.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I've ever roughed you up in our entire career, but hey, when you came all the way back, I remember they had that when you first got here, and you had that press conference outside the building there by the trees, and said no excuses and all that other stuff. I know that every coach wants to be somewhere a long time, but was it in your mind to be here for 18 years back then?
I can't say that. I don't think anyone anticipates 18 years. But I did know this wasn't a stepping stone job. Like, this isn't one of those jobs you do well and then you wait for Oklahoma to come call you to go there, or one of the other big jobs, So you know what I mean? I did know this is a place you do want to be a long time because you've done well. And there's such a tradition in history here that, that if you do it the right way, you should do well. And that's why I said, too, that I embraced the past and all the success they had before, never hid from it. And then we, fortunately, started to rise and meet those expectations.
I look at the daggone disarray a lot of different places in the country with the administration, with presidents and athletic directors. And, I mean, there's some obviously really good ones, but you have been incredibly lucky, have you not, to have these two guys, Joe Castiglione and David Bourne, with you through the entire time? Absolutely,
Jim. And it's I've had a lot of other opportunities. And outside of, I do love Oklahoma. My family does, everything. But, one of the primary reasons, as you would know or anyone would, that your bosses are a major part of what you do. And I've had great leadership here, support, and everything that we've done through President Bourne and Joe Castiglione. And that's probably the primary reason why I have been here, this long. But I'm blessed and fortunate, to have had them and to have been supported the way we have.
Talking with Bob Stoops. Okay, this is a question. I know that you've had just absurd success at the University of Oklahoma, but I want to go back. One of my favorite players of all time was Dan Marino, and it's probably because he and I got recruited at the same time, and I was smart enough not to go to Pitt because I knew I had no chance to play at Pitt when he was up there. Because we were the same year. But I remember after he went to the Super Bowl his very first year, he thought, geez, I'm going to go over here a whole bunch. And he never went back again. After you won the national championship your first time, did you think, my gosh, this is going to happen a lot? What were your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I don't know about a lot, but it's funny. Funny story, I was at a Christmas party at Toby Keith's house with Coach Switzer and our wives and families and several other people. We're talking. It's probably 2 years or just a year after that. And Coach Switzer was telling me about all the championships he won and then the ones that he just lost out on. And I said to him, he played for like 3 or 4 other possible national championships other than the 3 he won, and I looked at him in surprise, like, you lost 3 other national championships? And he looked at me and he says, you young, so he had a few choice words. He said, do you think you're going to win every one of them? And doggone it, he jinxed me. I had one since.
That reminds me of Mickelson finishing second for the 11th time, and Jack Nicholson finished 19 times in second place. I argue with people that used to rip the Buffalo Bills for going to 4 Super Bowls in a row and losing every one of them. Do they realize how hard it is to go to 4 Super Bowls in a row?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not easy. And anyway, so it was a fun story, that one.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about wrapping up last year. I mean, you get to the Final Four. It's a tremendous season. And you really have a hard time with Clemson. They got a great quarterback. You played with him for a while. Give me your thoughts now that you're removed from that game.
Well, just that we need to, constant improvement. A couple of things. I think just overall, just being more stronger and more powerful as a whole team. In that situation. We were ahead at half, but we weren't strong enough to finish it. I am realistic that you have to stay healthy. You start losing some pieces, and you need to be fortunate in those games too, health-wise. Not only in that game, but had we had to play another game.
Right.
But also goes to staying again, being more powerful, stronger, healthier. Sometimes can go together as well, but. We lost some significant pieces as that game went on, and it didn't help us. And you're not getting in those games if you're not close to 100% and winning them.
Sure. I mean, a couple players here and there, and it changes the whole aspect of the team. Talking with Bob Stoops. Okay, I warm my arm up a little bit now. Now I got a big fastball. I'm not going to throw you a softball here, okay?
I got it.
For the 18 years you've been here, I have been literally over the top complimentary of how you've handled the discipline on this football team, which, by the way, is not easy. Everybody knows that it's not easy with all these different players and worrying about them and everything. So, I was very public about the Joe Mixon thing. I thought he should have never played at the University of Oklahoma again. I got rid of it. You guys made your decision. It sounds like the kid has really got his life together. Everything's going well. Great. Okay, Jordan Thomas. Even though the things have been small, this is the third time that he's basically been in some trouble here. How hard is it to deal with your best defensive player, or at least one of your best defensive players, and, what you're thinking about discipline with him?
Well, first of all, situations are always different, and they're still working through. So first of all, they're still working through this whole situation. So there isn't anything to be judged right now. As far as not showing up for some type of traffic violation, that isn't anything to talk about. That's you're wasting your time on that. That happens across campus every day. I mean,
right. I said that on the radio when it happened too. By the way, I'll just tell you.
Yeah, that's nothing to even discuss. So let's not add up things that don't matter. You know what I mean? Now, this incident matters, but the whole details of it haven't been hammered out yet, and that's what I'm waiting. We'll, as a university, wait to know everything about it, and and then we'll decide what to do. But in the end, to add them all together, and you want to group in a traffic ticket that you didn't show up for, that's not to be considered. So the bottom line is, at this point, he has 3 misdemeanors, and we'll see the severity of them.
Okay, so in other words, let me just get this straight before we talk a little bit about your team. So what you're kind of saying is that he got suspended for a quarter, he got suspended for a game.
Well,
basically, you're only looking at this as the second time.
When he was suspended for a quarter, he was late for a meeting.
Right.
So,
right.
Again, now we're not having 3 strikes here that aren't all the same. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But you would also agree that, I think you would agree more than anybody around that, missing a meeting and stuff like that, that's all about dependability, and you want your number one defensive back to be dependable, right?
Well, I'm not calling him my number one defensive back. Ahmad Thomas and Stephen Parker
I'm sorry.
are every bit as good as him or better. I mean, Ahmad was
I apologize.
So anyway,
I apologize.
I'm not going to sit here and talk through all that. The bottom line is those other incidents have been dealt with and aren't a big deal. This one, we'll see where this leads.
Talking with Bob Stoops, head coach. You had to be incredible. Tell me how you felt when you found out that that your quarterback Baker Mayfield got another year. What was the first feeling you had when you found out it went through?
Just pleased, excited for him that That is the right thing. Is the other part. It's funny how even when the previous times they had voted on it didn't go through, I had this feeling that the right would win. Like, this is only the right thing to do. You know, not
right.
If you just take Baker out of it, for all young people playing all these other sports. If you can go somewhere and get on the field and you can at another place, then allow the guy to go ahead and do it. If you're not going to invest a scholarship in him, you know, so
right.
So in the end, you know, it was just the right thing, and so I had this feeling that it would always happen that way because it was so the right thing to do.
But you know what's unbelievable about it, Bob? You've been around the game so long. Who would have ever thought that a walk-on transfer would become the best daggone player in the entire league? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a very unique situation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's never happened before, I bet, and I doubt it'll ever happen again. You know, but it's just, you know, so it's just fortunate, and it's good that he'll have that option after this year.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. The twosome that you have at running back, is it, and I know you don't like to compare things, but just for me, one time, is this the best twosome you think you've ever had?
Probably. I was just talking to someone else about it, and the only others to compare would have been Adrian Peterson with Alan Patrick and DeMarco Murray with Chris Brown. But in both of those tandems, only one of the guys went on to have any type of NFL career. With this group, right. I think they'll both have an opportunity to have strong NFL careers. So probably is the strongest two. This year could determine that. Hopefully they have big years.
They're telling me, people are texting me and telling me you got to go. But you got to promise me, Bob, a couple of years ago when you were doing the tornado relief, you just dropped in on my show one day, and it was literally, people still tell me to this day, it's not only the best interview that I've done, they think it's the best interview that you've ever done. So will you promise me sometime that you'll just, like, say, hey, I want to go on with Traber or something, and you'll come on for a few minutes with me before you get crazy in football?
Yeah, well, you bring out the best of me, so I better. But hopefully I'm not traveling back from any tornadoes. Hopefully I'm traveling somewhere else, and there's the casino that you're at. That's what happened. I said, there's Jim's talking on the radio. That's the casino. I'm going to pull off and go see him. So next time that happens, I'll pull in for sure. I'm not afraid of you.
Let me tell you something. September will be 25 years on the radio for me, and I'm letting you know that was one of the coolest things that's ever happened on the radio to me when I saw you walk in there. I'm just telling you. And I'm not trying to suck up to you because I didn't throw you every softball today. I'm just telling you, it was cool.
Right. I like hitting those fastballs.
You're the man, Bob. Thanks so much. Good luck this season, okay?
All right, good to be with you.
Yep, thanks. Always good to have Bob Stoops on.